someone gonna chop his dick off.
Defeat the evil boy.
God. It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Here we go. This, when it loads, is going to be painful. Yeah.
Space Ace, defender of justice, truth, and the
my
planet
God.
Earth.
Well,
Ace is being attacked by
that
the
was
evil
a Star
Commander
Trek
Borg.
sound effect. That's a photon torpedo.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
No way, Borf, old buddy.
Ah! I've been hit by the Infanto ray.
Earthlings must surrender to me.
Oh my goodness.
Struggle with Dexter to regain his manhood.
Yeah.
Destroy the
To
Infanto
retain,
ray.
someone gonna chop his dick off.
Defeat the evil boy.
God. Okay. Lives 5 remaining. This, I mean, you've seen the only part that's worth, you know, watch the intro sequence. It might be mildly amusing. Jokes about manhood and stuff. Whoops. What? So I've lost a life already.
There's Bor's ship.
Oh, God. There's Dork's ship. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. Here we go.
There's Bor's ship.
There's the Borg ship. What? For God's sake. What?
There's Bor's ship.
How many times do you think it's Groundhog Day? I don't even.
There's Bor's ship.
Yeah, you're the you just fall off a cliff. You. Wow, I died a different way. All right, that's Space Ace on the Atari Jaguar CD. For God's sake, do not spend money on this shite. You know, buy a game drive by all means if you can get one, and play Atari Jaguar
Space
games.
Ace, defender of justice,
Shut up.
truth, and the
Yeah, you know, there are 1 or 2 Jaguar CD games that might be worth spending some time on, but these full motion video, bloody, what do you call them? I've forgotten the word. They're shite. Don't play them. These things, this and Dragon's Lair, they're just quick time events without the instruction to tell you what button to press. So it's just like spawn die, spawn die, spawn die, spawn die, game over, man. I can't tell you how much I detest these games. They're not games. They're a memory test. But you've got to work out what the thing is you're supposed to remember first, and you're going to lose all your lives before you figure it out. And £1 a time on the arcade machine. Jesus. How was that ever considered okay by anyone? I just don't know. They're terrible. I think the only reason to own one of these games is as a historical curiosity. Yeah, you know, it's as a collector's item to say, here's a historic game. It's shit, it's god awful, it's not fun, don't ever play it for God's sake. Because if you're not bold by the time you finish, you will be, because you'll have pulled all your hair out in rage. But you know, it's that bad. But it's a piece of history, and you know, yeah, fine. Put it on the shelf, admire it, but for God's sake, don't play it. Okay, thank you for watching. Hello. Today's question for Q&A is from WhatsOnMyShelf. Link to their channel down there. They ask, for Q&A, are there any games you feel are well designed around a certain controller? Yes, there are. The first one is really obvious, and those of you who know me well will know exactly what I'm going to say. There is a game that I love that you just can't play properly without the original controller, and that is Star Wars Arcade from Atari with that yoke controller thing. yoke isn't even the right word for it. It's kind of like half yoke, half steering wheel. You can play it with an analog joystick and it's not good. You can play it with a D-pad and it's unbelievably terrible and completely uncontrollable. You can play it with a mouse and it's controllable, but it's not authentic. It just doesn't feel right. These are the common methods of playing it, and none of them are good enough in my opinion. The nearest I've ever got to playing that game in any way that was even close to authentic compared to that yoke controller is with a Android tablet with tilt controls, and especially if you've got the tablet hooked up to a TV screen via HDMI out. You sit there holding the tablet like that. It's not quite right because it's not fixed in the middle. So you're kind of straying around all over the place and never... You wind up doing that instead of that. The rotation isn't quite right. But it's pretty close. It's the best I've managed to control it. So yeah, that is... That game, it's essential to have the original controller. So basically you need a I guess one of those, what is it, 1-up, I forgot what they're called. There's like a 2/3, 1/3, whatever arcade cabinet reproduction thing, which I haven't seen any of them for sale over here except if you pay an astronomical shipping fee. Sod that. It's a great game, but it ain't that great. Other games that are great, designed around a certain controller, yeah, Marble Madness, that game with a trackball, epic, absolutely epic. I mean, it's playable with a D-pad, but I played it on the Amiga with the trackball a year or two ago. It blew me away how good it was. I mean, I played it in the arcades years ago, back in the day when I were a lad. Actually, I was in my 20s, I think. Yeah, I played it back then and loved it, and I played it a couple of years ago with my Amiga trackball, and it was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Other games? Well, yes, Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort. I'm not a fan of Nintendo, as you probably know. I'm not a fan of the Wii, as you may also know. And I don't like the Wii controller. I think it's a gimmick that was only really good on some very specific games. And Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort are two of those. I mean, it's like a party game thing, you know, lots of little mini games, but they're good, or some of them are. The bowling, love the bowling, love the fencing. I think was tennis one of them. Stuff like that, really, really good. Yeah, shame about all the other Wii games. It's like, get a pro controller, because for playing normal games, that bloody Wii controller's horrible and I hate it. And who the hell thought it was a good idea to make you shake your bloody controller to throw a grenade in Metal Slug? No. So sometimes you can have a clever controller and completely misuse it, you know, totally inappropriate control method. Not just a bit wrong, but really game-breakingly wrong. Yeah. Other controllers, games with other controllers. Well, okay. Most of the games that used this, I'm just kind of giving something away now. It's my birthday very, 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 very soon, and I bought myself a present a little bit early. And Oculus Quest 2. It's a very, very clever controller. I thought it was going to be really quite inferior to the PSVR. But these things make a world of difference. You've just got more cleverness, and they use these well in a lot of the games. Some of them, don't know, takes a bit of brain recalibrating. Yeah, a lot of Oculus Quest games, it's in the nature of the controller as much as anything. There's a World War I biplanes, fighter planes thing, where you literally, you can play it with your analog sticks if you want, but you can also have one of these in each hand, and you're like, there's your throttle control down on your left, and this one's on the joystick in the cockpit, and you're flying it like that, and it is really immersive. It's not easy, but then who's, you know, flying biplanes? It's probably not easy. I've never done it, never going to, but you know, that I think is a good use of a controller. You have other options, but yeah, I do think, well, I don't know, you see, some games I just want a traditional control system. Frequently just give me a D-pad. I suppose it depends on the kind of game, but you know, a D-pad or an analog stick and a couple of buttons, and maybe a couple of shoulder buttons or triggers or whatever, and I'm happy. But sometimes, yeah, a fancy controller makes a world of difference. Like Manx TT Superbike. It took the the super hang-on concept and really ramped it up. The bike was bigger, you didn't have your feet on the ground, it was sort of had damped movement, and you had to put some effort into tilting it over. That made that game, it's a great game at home with a joypad, but in an arcade, mind-blowing. Yeah, but I mean, that's going to extremes really. And was it R360? I never went on an R360, which I think it was, a lot of people think it was Afterburner, but it wasn't Afterburner. And I've forgotten what the game was. It was another flight type thing like that. G-Lock, I think it was G-Lock. Yeah. Okay, so my main answer to that really is Star Wars, but also a load of Nintendo Wii games and Oculus Quest and other VR games that have fancy controllers. I'm having a stupid hair day. I just saw myself in a thing. I got rained on, and my hair won't be sensible now that I've got back. Oh well. Anyway, anyone else who's got any questions they would like answering in a video like this, leave your question in the comments below, and remember to begin your question with 4 Q&A so I know not to just answer it in the comments. And thank you for watching.
So, is he starting some kind of cookery show? It says something here about having pastry on. Pies? I like pies.